What? Oh, it's time for this week's SmackDown 20 by 20. My bad. I fell asleep and didn't wake up until just now, because that's how absolutely boring this week's SmackDown was. It was such a drag to watch it. Just completely awful. I'm pretty sure this is the worst SmackDown I've watched since I started this show. Anyway, let's get into why it was so fucking bad. The show opened up with New Day being the New Day and spouting a bunch of nonsense about American principles and pancakes and we the fans not wanting a douche like Jinder as US champ, so he was going to win his match against him and go on to win the US title. I can't say it was exciting stuff because it wasn't. New Day needs to do something different to freshen their act up because they've been doing the same shtick for years now and they've just been floating around in the roster doing little of meaning since their feud with the Usos a few months back. Jinder and his mini-men then had their entrance, the match happened, it was nothing special, I was bored out of my mind, Jinder hit Woods with the Kalash or whatever the fuck his finisher's called and got the pinfall victory on him, so he moved on to the finals just as I had predicted. I might as well just lump all the selfie promos here because Corbin, Orton, and some of the women of the Blue Brand all recorded cringy, lame little promos about how they're all gonna win their respective Rumble matches. It was different, but it wasn't a good kind of different. It was just weird and it did nothing for me. There was a disconnection there somewhere. Anyway, definitely not highlights of the show. And who the hell thought it was a good idea to make AJ say what he said in that interview he did? That was probably AJ's weakest promo ever in the entirety of his WWE run so far. Perfect example of how even the best of the best can be made to look like idiots. Mojo and Bobby had their semifinals match, and the match itself was fine. Bobby went over, as predicted by yours truly and as he should have, so now we know that he's taking on Jinder. The Singh Bros did a hit and run on him post-match. Bobby got up, looked at the three Canadians on the stage and said, "Hey, what if we have this match tonight instead of next week?" And Jinder said, "No, next week when I want it." But then Daniel Bryan came out to do his new gimmick where he takes a wrestler's idea and approves of it and makes it happen, so the match was changed to the main event of the show, which I didn't have a problem with, but with the show being so bad the entire night so far, it didn't mean as much as it could have. The women got thrown together again in yet another meaningless 6-women tag match that I absolutely did not care for. It made me want to stop watching the fucking show because it's the same major gripe I had with Raw this week, and seeing it happen twice in the same week is just ridiculous. Not that that's anything new because this has been going on for what feels like ages. The women deserve so much better than what they're getting. There's no excuse for the treatment that they've been getting for months, and Charlotte as champion is as forgotten up to this point as Alexa is as champion on Raw. And then we finally have the main event, which is about the only thing in this entire show that mattered because the glorious one finally won his first main roster gold since his debut. So that's something worth getting excited about. I personally wouldn't mind seeing him have a lengthy run with it, but let's face it, lengthy championship runs aren't the norm in the WWE, so I doubt this one will be an exception. Though I'll gladly eat my words if I turn out to be wrong in the long run. Anyway, Shane and Daniel sat at ringside during the match because they banned the Singh Bros from being there, and they themselves were there to make sure that they stayed away. Bobby won, that's pretty awesome, and the only highlight of the entire goddamn show. And that was SmackDown this week. A very lackluster and uneventful show full of awkward selfie promos, another meaningless women's match, and a new title holder whose victory should have been presented as so much more than what it was. What did you think of the show this week? Did you enjoy it more than I did? Leave a comment, make sure to subscribe for more weekly content, and if you really enjoy 20 by 20, consider supporting the channel on Patreon. But until then, here's to hoping that next week's SmackDown is so much better than last night's show was. Catch your ass here for the next one.